everyone, Helena here. Hello everyone, Helena here, the network connections, all that good joy. Kelly as well. Welcome to Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors and coaches build a business on your terms. And the buzz in our business, we've got so much buzz in our business.
Buzzing.
We are totally buzzing, it's just mental. And actually, loads of things are happening in the Connection Hub. So you're on the Speaker Insight page at the moment. Our group is called the Connection Hub, and Kelly's doing all the wizardry.
Posting a link as we go.
That actually kind of happens in here. But here's what we're sort of celebrating, because of course the topic of today is the power of sharing and celebrating. And so more on that in a minute. But the buzz in our business is really that, you know, we've got over 1,000 members, Kelly,
in
5 months, which we're really excited and happy about, because what's actually really going on with that is that lots of different people who need each other, speakers, authors and coaches, who need web designers and copywriters and agents and all of that kind of stuff, and just places to speak, etc. You're all in there connecting to each other. So if you're not in there, we would love to welcome you in. It's apparently a really good vibe. That's what people tell us, which is really rather good. So not only that, the buzz in our business is that last week we actually created a directory so that people can find each other more easily, and that's beginning to really fill up. So if you are in the Connection Hub and you haven't put your name on the list, get your name on the list. If you'd love to be on the list and you're not in the Connection Hub, come in the Connection Hub and put your name on the list. Now, we also had, we're on day 2 of our Facebook challenge.
Our
avatar challenge. And like, this is close to Kelly's heart in all sorts of ways, and I'm this close behind her, to be honest. Because actually, the more you know who you serve, the easier it is to go out and do your thing, be the message maker, the change maker that you actually are out in the world. So we're on day 2 already, so you can definitely come and catch up. It's a 5-day challenge, and there are some really amazing insights into who you actually serve, and we're just encouraging everybody to go that little bit deeper and that little bit deeper, aren't we?
When the end of the 5-day challenge, you're going to know your avatar so clearly. Your marketing copy is going to be easy to do. You're going to know where to find them. You're going to be able to connect with them authentically, and you're going to make them part of your tribe, just like we've been doing in the Connection Hub, right?
Exactly. So we thought it would be a really good way for you to do this.
Bethan says it's a fantastic challenge, gaining more than the obvious.
Oh, you see, that's really, really good. And so really pleased to kind of just open up the thinking to you getting insights that will really benefit you in your business. Yeah. So what else? There's more buzz in our business. So yesterday, we're fresh off the back of, we ran a retreat, a Speaker Insight retreat in February. Yeah. And yesterday we actually kind of had the 5-month catch up from those people to kind of hear the stories and the progress that people are actually doing from putting into action all that they learned and gained and sort of, you know, set up for themselves in that way. And that was absolutely amazing, particularly because the next retreat is coming up this weekend.
It is. So we're fully booked, sorry guys.
Yeah, sorry.
But I'll put the link in here now, and you can check out the one that's happening later on in the year, so you can check out dates for that.
Yeah, it's really good.
But so it was important, wasn't it, that what happened when we had our graduates from the last retreat come up, that the topic that we're talking about today of sharing the celebration was really prominent, wasn't it? It was that opportunity for them to get back together and really see what they've done and share in the successes, because they're on a really similar journey at a similar time scale. Yeah. So they could really empathise with what other people are going through and really celebrate authentically the progress that they've made together.
Yeah, and so that's actually the power of what we're talking about sort of today. Loads of celebrations, really.
I'm sorry, we missed quite a big celebration that was happening, not in our business, but it is, because that's our business, is our life, right? Is that Helena celebrated her 50th birthday at the weekend. So the celebrations are continuing.
Yes, they truly are.
It's going to be celebration month, basically.
Yes, that's exactly it. Oh my God, that just got loads of love. Yay! You see, I'm loving loads of love. Like, yay! It's really cool. And I am a massive celebrator. So I am a big fan of actually acknowledging and recognizing what actually goes on, the milestones that are in here. So that is partly the contribution of why we're actually doing this in here. And Kelly's going to tell you a little bit more about it, because actually I truly believe that celebration has to be a core function within your business, something that you stop to do on a regular basis, which is why we actually wanted to do this as a Facebook Live topic, because actually it can make your business better. So,
and there's a couple of things, right? We always talk about building a business on your terms. Yes. So let's just acknowledge one thing. So as a treat, she's got a treat birthday month, but as a treat, we're going off to a spa straight after this Facebook Live. And Gary King is not
not Spa,
the convenience store.
Honestly, it's Spa, but no R.
Cheeky bugger.
I know.
Anyway, so we're doing that. But because we've built the business on our terms, it gives us the ability to take that time out and I've just come back from 2 weeks in Borneo. And so that's what we want you to build, that business where it fits around your lifestyle and monetary wise, and it allows you to do the things to celebrate successes, whether it's in life, in business, because they are so important.
Exactly.
And I know Bethan's watching, and so is Roger. Hey guys, and there's some other people, but I just want to say that when there's somebody that's quite introverted, quite left brain, quite logical and systems orientated like I am, I didn't do the celebration bit, definitely didn't do it publicly, and I probably didn't even do it that personally either, because I was constantly just ticking the things off the to-do list, and the to-do list is never ending, right? So I might just go, it feels good to tick it off, but I wouldn't celebrate.
No.
And one of the things when I started we worked together for years, but when we started running Speaker Insight together, one of the things that shocked me about Helena was that we'd have a meeting or we'd have a day together and she'd leave me 5 minutes before the door and she'd go, so what was the one thing that you liked about today? And I'd be like, oh fuck, what? And she'd really just genuinely find out, what did we learn from today? What did we like about today? What did we do well? Yeah. And it took me a good few months to actually get used to that style of questioning and thinking just on everyday life. Yeah. But that reflection piece is so key. Yeah. And I think it's something that we acknowledged yesterday in the guys that have done the retreat, is that it's only when we start picking up, well, you've done a logo, haven't you? You've registered that name and you've done this. And, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Because we're so busy in the doing,
that's it,
that we forget even these tiny milestones that maybe seem quite big at the time, but then they get lost.
They get lost. Yeah.
So this whole thing about the building a business on your terms is actually working out how to reflect, review, and see the small steps. Because when you're building a business by yourself as a speaker, author, or coach, you don't really take that a lot of time to reflect and share. Yeah. And when you share, you're like, it's that Celestine prophecies with adding energy of two things adds more energy.
That's it.
And you get more deeper insights when you celebrate and share together. So that's really why we want to talk about this topic today.
Yeah, because sharing and celebration builds your business. And because running a business really isn't plain sailing at all. It can be lonely, it can be frustrating, it can absolutely feel like you've just ticked off one or two things and then the next thing actually happens, and it's like, as Kelly says, things get lost. Now, the dictionary definition of celebration is actually, hang on, I'm just going to read, is taking part in special enjoyable activities in order to show that a particular occasion is important. So it's like actually celebrating is the recognition that something that has happened is important. Now, you making a decision, that can be all sorts of things, right? Yeah. It can be you making a decision, a final decision on that logo. It can be you landing a proposal. It can be you writing a proposal. If you find those really hard, actually celebrating that you've done it is an amazing thing. And then the piece that you could do is actually reflect on it and think, how can I make this easier for me next time? Yeah. I've got a template here. Yeah. How do I use that, right? So part of the celebration, part of the stopping and saying, well done me, and how can I do more of that? What would create more is actually part of what celebration is for me. So the reason I actually make people stop and go, what did you like about it? What was most valuable about it? For anyone who's ever been coached for me, you know those two sentences, right? It really is important, because in the reflection that you do, you then actually get the wisdom. And the wisdom is what you can then actually use to make your business better, which is why we're saying that celebration is a core element that drives your business forward. And the other thing is that actually when you are sharing about it, whether it's sharing with one person or sharing in a group of people, you actually start to hear yourself, like thinking inside, the inside voice, if you like, is very different from the outside voice. When you start to actually share, even if it feels uncomfortable or difficult because you think that you haven't done anything, and we had at least 3 people who were going, oh, I haven't done anything, you know, which is what happens regularly when we ask people to celebrate or share where they're at. Eventually, as you start speaking, all of you holds on to the successes that you've actually managed to achieve, but not necessarily spoken out loud. And as you start to speak from that place of, oh, I have actually done a lot, it begins to build a confidence. Yeah. And that is the key that actually happens. So sharing and celebrating actually allows you to start building your confidence more and more into areas that allow you to expand not only your range, but your world and your vision. And that's massive.
And Bethan's just said a great tip to tie reflection and celebration together. And I think that's why in the Connection Hub we have Friday Feeling,
yes.
right? Because as Helena's saying, actually scheduling it in, and I know it sounds a bit weird, but it's that reflection time to go back on the week and go, okay, let's reflect, and then let's share and let's celebrate, right? Yes. So in the Connection Hub every Friday we have that, and we encourage you to look at certain questions and share your reflections and how you're feeling on the Friday.
Yeah.
And it might not all be about celebration, but there are definitely going to be small wins that you've all had every week. Yeah. And it's about acknowledging them, sharing them and reflecting, because in the community, Friday Feeling is actually one of our most popular hashtags.
It is, yeah.
Right? So we look at our insights, and that's because people like to support other people, and reading them actually inspires other people that, oh, I could do that. Exactly. You know, that's a small thing. I could put that down. I could feel good about making that progress that week.
Yeah, and the great thing about that is that actually it can be a celebration, it can be sharing. So wherever it's at, it's that piece around, you know that you are grateful for something that has happened, even if you have to go and look for what you're grateful for because something happened, because there's usually something. And what happens when you share is that other people then start to reflect on what you've shared, and they make their contributions to it. Perfect. So for example, you know, Bethan, you've just said that actually marrying those two together is a really great idea. You might never have had that thought if somebody wasn't sharing something. Yeah. And so it's that whole part of why we like connection, and this is very true for me, and I know it's true for Kelly, probably more even for me. Connection for me is definitely the connection with other humans, but it's actually also about connecting the dots, actually pulling things together into a picture. So hearing what one person says, or hearing an experience, and marrying those two things together and going, oh, what can be created with that, is actually a way of expanding and opening. And so many opportunities can actually happen because you are celebrating and sharing. So that's really our encouragement, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And
yes, you were just saying that's the good thing about having an accountability buddy.
Yeah.
That ability to do that.
Completely. And so really, I guess, you know, sharing in itself can be a form of teaching. You know, you tell us where you are when what you're experiencing, and then that either teaches you because you're saying it and you're hearing it like differently because it's outside voice, inside voice, and it also brings you a perspective. It brings you a perspective and other people's perspectives, right?
And that, just on that point that you were saying about it being a teaching, I think that's probably one way that allows me to share successes, because I don't like blowing my own trumpet, and I think most people don't. Yeah. And then when you just see people about, oh, I've done this, I'm so great, I've achieved this, it just feels like quite egocentric, and that's not how I'd like to come across. But if I've shared something of an achievement and it actually explained the journey, the help I've had along the way, the resources I've used, then that for me is like, and also being vulnerable, right? Because it's not all perfect in the world. Things don't happen as they're meant to happen all the time, very rarely actually. Yeah. And so sharing what you went through to get to this success is actually quite a cathartic thing for you, but it's a real teaching point for other people to go, oh, well, when I looked at that on the surface, I thought they just did that really easily.
That's
that
right.
just looked like an overnight success thing.
Yeah.
So for people, if you're finding it hard to be visible and don't feel like you're just hogging the limelight for the sake of it, then tell people about the journey and make it into a teaching post.
That can actually make it a lot easier.
It does for me.
So normally when we're having our not on live camera kind of discussions, that's actually where we need to go. So understanding, each other's style. I get that if I get Kelly to teach me something, we usually end up with the nub of whatever it is that's going on, and that in its essence is what it's all about. It's that whole piece of, well, how can we use sharing and celebration to move us forward?
Yeah.
Because that's actually the whole point of why we're doing this, right?
With no trumpets, as Daisy says.
No trumpets, no
fanfare, thanks very much.
See, now I've just gone into the Incredibles and I'm like, no capes, no capes. But anyway, come back. Right.
So the other thing I think is really important is allowing people to share your celebration. So some of the things might not be that introverted perspective of a journey, but maybe you want to aim for something to celebrate for. So think about how could you actually have maybe win an award or an industry standard or get some sort of third-party recognition. And so, for example, even when we just by hitting 1,000 members or over 1,000 members in the Connection Hub, yes, that's our success. But that's your success, right? Because you are the members that created it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if people feel part of something, then it gives them a chance to go, well, I made that happen. Just my little bit of contribution made that happen. Yeah. So I want you to think about what would be a stretch for you for something to really aim for, to make yourself a milestone, a goal, so that you could have a big celebration around it. Yeah. So is there an award? Is there an industry standard?
Agreed. Is there an article? Is there a magazine that you would love to have an article published in? Judith recently, had a full-page spread in the paper. That might be something that you set yourself up for that can be a celebration. So here's the question for you. This is the write it downer. Is what would you love to celebrate in 3 months, 6 months, a year's time? What would you love to be celebrating? What would you love to be throwing a little party or a get-together for that actually is a I don't know how many people prepare their Oscar speeches, their whole kind of thank you speeches and everything else, but what would you love to be able to actually say thank you to other people that you're celebrating? What would you love to have as something that you've worked towards that you can celebrate, that is either an outward recognition by everybody around you or indeed by your industry? Which is just amazing.
And because Daisy's watching, what outfit would you wear?
Hell yes!
Accepting that speech, right?
Which is really good. So, what are some of the things that you can sort of celebrate?
So set yourself milestones, right? It's all in business plans. When you've got 90-day plans, which is what we work off quite a lot, have those milestones. Yeah. But then also work out what the treat is going to be for you. Yeah. Okay. So when you get there, how are you going to celebrate? What's the way that you're going to share the success, and what's going to be your little piece of cake at the end if it is a piece of cake? So think about milestones. Maybe it's also that journey bit. So if you didn't do something right the first way, but then you did it right the second way, then celebrate the fact that you've learned that new habit, or you've learned that new skill, or that methodology which works for you. Yeah. We love, you'll see in the Connection Hub, every time we hit like a milestone of members, we put little celebrations up, we thank all you guys, and we normally release a new thing. Yeah. Like opportunity hashtag or the directory or things. When we hit milestones, that's our way of celebrating by giving back and saying there's a new resource now in the Connection Hub.
Which is kind of celebration and sharing combined. So we hit the milestone and then we share the next little thing that we could actually do, right?
I love sharing eat the frog moments, right? So eat that frog is when you do something which you've been putting off and procrastinating for ages, or it's a really big hairy goal. That's something which is then, change the mindset if you got the success from it, that those big hairy goals aren't normally as bad as what you thought they were going to be. Then we've got the things that are in your business plan, whether it's getting book deals, publishing deals, speaking gigs, or increasing the size of your audience. Yeah. The things that are the assets which we have in our audit, our business plan audit, of the things that you actually need to create, do, and have in your business, right? It could be the fact that you've got really good reviews and feedback, testimonials. We were interviewing Casper yesterday, right?
Literally just going to say the same thing.
So we'll give him a shout out on here. And Casper's book has just gone absolutely frigging crazy. Yeah. He is on CNN. He's on everywhere, right? Steve Wright's show with Janie.
That's happening today. So if you get an opportunity, you'll get to listen to that.
But he was saying that one of his goals was the fact that he wants to have 100 reviews on Amazon.
5-star reviews.
Yeah, 5-star reviews, obviously. So we'll put a link in this post for Casper's book for you to check out. And then if you get it, you can write a good review and we'll give him a shout out as well. But those are the types of things of milestones and achievements and goals in your business plan.
Yeah.
It might be that new client that you've landed. And it might even just be a shift of your mindset.
I agree.
Right? I think that's one of the biggest things to
that
celebrate.
Whole I can do it thing, when you actually finally, so I was coaching somebody this morning and, we were talking about creating a website and her actually saying, I don't want someone else to do it for me. I want someone else to do some of the techie bits, but I actually want to be in charge of the whole of it because actually I own it. And it was such a celebration piece for her to get to the point where she was ready to do that because actually before, this is like big technophobe person, but for her to get over her own mental barriers to doing that was a real celebration moment for us and just an acknowledgement of actually that's what I want and I'm going for it, right?
Yeah. And there is real reasons why we should celebrate. Of
course.
Right? We've gone through the sort of how to do it.
Yeah.
But then there's reasons why.
Well, so one of the biggest things, and you'll have heard me say this before, is that whenever we set ourselves a promise or whenever we say, oh yeah, so Kelly just said, we'll put the link in here to Casper's thing, right? Now what happens is that a tiny piece of energy inside of you goes, I'll be in charge of that. Yes, I'll be in charge of that. Like you can imagine like a little character kind of going, yeah, that's mine, right? And until Kelly actually puts that in there, she's now going to freak out, by the way, and she's totally going to go and find the book right now.
After the life, I can do it now.
No, it's totally fine. But there'll be a part of you that actually, when you put your hand up and you go, yeah, I'm going to do that. When you make a decision to do something, you allocate a part of energy to it. And what happens is that until we get to, so unless you build in celebration points, unless you build in kind of stopping points, that energy is no longer available to you until the thing is finished.
So it's completing the loop.
That is exactly it. And so what basically needs to happen is that you can actually, so a little bit like Eat That Frog, in little bits and pieces. By setting the milestones, we can actually get that piece of energy back and reallocate it because our energy is infinite in that way. But that little piece will keep on kind of banging against the door of, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. And that erodes our confidence because we start to think, I've just got no energy for this, for this, for this. The chances are, so here is the trick to do. When you are feeling like you are worn out, tired, fatigued, it's probably that you've given away your promises to do things to too many things that allows you to feel overwhelmed and you just want to go and hide. 9 times out of 10, it's because you've made the thing too big and you haven't put a celebration point in. So you'll notice that I'm making milestones and celebration points synonymous. And what that does is it allows you to reset the energy and go, right, I'm going to allocate this chunk of energy to that over here.
So me and Betham are sitting there going,
I can tell. She's got that calm energy right now.
I'm in learning mode.
She's in learning mode, can you tell? So it's partly that. It's about getting your energy back. Now for different people, it's going to be different chunk sizes. Sort of like for some of you, you like a big kind of, chunky challenge. For others, it's actually simply about going, okay, I'll do the next 10, I'll do the next 10. Woohoo, go me, right? So start to notice what is satisfying for you, what is the energetic pull for you that allows you to go, phew, and now I can go again, right? So there's a replenishment that happens. We are doing replenishment after this Facebook Live at the spa, which is also a real celebration point for some of the things that we've actually been doing recently. Now, there's something else I need to tell you. It's also this, you deserve acknowledgement. And because most of us work on our own or work with external teams in that way, actually it's really hard to get the acknowledgement because most people tend not to be self-acknowledging. So then you deserve acknowledgement for what's actually happening. So allow yourself to have that by having an accountability buddy or someone that you can just kind of go into, or indeed a group that will celebrate alongside you. Because actually, if you're not good at giving yourself acknowledgement, then go say what you've done and get the acknowledgement from elsewhere.
Yeah, and I think that point's really key, right? So when you choose who to celebrate with, okay, choose wisely, okay? So choose like-minded people that are supportive, that get you, that don't think that, you know, lots of speakers, authors and coach people in their network tell you to go and get a proper job and blah, blah, blah. So people that are really going to understand how hard it was to write that proposal, or how hard it was to pick up that phone when...
Or even get that chapter written, right?
So they can really empathise and appreciate that, and as I said at the beginning of the life, authentically share in your success. So I'm a massive fan of mastermind groups. So if you can be part of a mastermind group, then the celebration, the reflection, the acknowledgement, the sharing is a natural part of a mastermind group anyway.
It really is. And if it isn't, you should leave that one.
Yeah. And as Bethan said earlier about finding an accountability partner, or even a buddy or a mentor or a coach, or those types of things, please make sure that you've got that consistent person, group, individual, mentor, whoever it is, and in your own groups, like what we do on Friday Feeling, share, right? Have that mechanism to share. And
have somewhere that feels safe enough so you can be brave enough. Because somewhere...
That's got a bit of quote somewhere, right?
Yeah, somebody write that down.
Safe enough to be brave enough.
There it
is.
Like that. And because actually, so many people kind of hold themselves back because they're a bit fearful, they're a little bit scared. Will people think I'm stupid, foolish, embarrassed? You know, it's all of that. And then we don't say it. And then it goes away. And again, there's a tiny little part of you that's really disappointed that went, you know, back to the tiny little part that's going... I did a lot of hard work. It's like a disgruntled little inner employee that's kind of going, what about me? You know, kind of in that way. So get brave enough on behalf of your inner team and share, because actually you will feel so much better. And that's partly why we celebrate. We celebrate to feel good. And when we feel good, we serve better. And when we serve better, we change the world. Now I'm going to get off my soapbox.
That's quite a good thing to end on, I think.
I think so too. So, yeah.
So I think, just as Helena's saying, not to take away from that really powerful last line that you've just said, is that sharing makes you feel less alone, okay? That's the whole thing about why we put the Connection Hub together, is because you guys are normally working like little islands. So we want to bring the energy together, we want to get the sharing, the celebration, but to know that you feel more connected and to keep both your energy steady and present, right? As Helena's just been going on about. So let us know. We want to know what you're celebrating. Either use the hashtag Friday Feeling in the Connection Hub, or tell us in the comments below.
Buzzing your businesses, because remember, buzzing your business is a celebration point. And most of you probably get too caught in what we're teaching to actually put what the buzz in your business is, but we really would like to know.
We'd love to know what's going on, and we won't bombard you with too many pictures from the spa, we promise.
We'll do our best. Just maybe one or two.
Happy celebration!
Have fun.